Hey everybody, it's me, CrazyFrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 6 4 key game picks. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about Week 5, shall we? Thinking about it, going back into Week 5, only 2 undefeated teams left. It was no surprise, as I said from last week, I knew the Cardinals would not win that game against the Rams. Every time those two teams play each other, I knew they would play tough. And the St. Louis Rams did a great job they did a number on Arizona, and they really threw off Kelvin Cobb the entire game. I didn't see that game because I had class that night, so I really only saw highlights of that game, so there was no surprise. So it kind of was no surprise to me. I knew that the Rams would beat them. So Texans and the Falcons, no question about it, still the only undefeated teams left. Falcons, they barely escaped with one over the Washington Redskins last week. It was a little bit of a surprise. It was a little bit surprising for me. I'm beginning to wonder now: is some of the teams starting to discover their flaws? It's really tough to say because Atlanta's still playing very well, and they still find a way to win. So I'm still going to stand by my statement for the last 2 weeks already, and that the Atlanta Falcons, I still think, are the team to beat in the NFC, maybe in the NFL. I don't know. The Texans. Their game against the Jets was kind of a little bit of a shocker, but they had a huge blow. They lost one of their linebackers to a season-ending ACL injury, so it is kind of a little bit of a blow for them. But are they a good team? They are a good team. Maybe the team to beat in the AFC. I don't know. So it's really tough to say. But I'm going to think about it in the NFC. I mean, I'm not going to count out the 49ers just yet. I mean, they beat the crap out of the Bills last week. If anybody saw that game, man, it was a total ass whipping. Broncos and Patriots, well, what can I say? Patriots are still good, man. Tom Brady's always had Peyton Manning's number. He's 9-3 against them, so it was not really much of a surprise. I knew Denver had so many flaws on that team. It's really their defense. Really, they had trouble stopping the Patriots all game long. It was really bad. And the Saints finally picked up their first win. Sadly, it had to go against my Chargers, but well. And on the other facts, that Drew Brees broke the consecutive touchdown record. It was previously held by Johnny Unitas. But here's another fact too. Tom Brady's not that far from him. So I would say that if Drew Brees is going to keep on pursuing more and more, adding to that record, he's going to have to keep playing consistent football. Other than that, that's pretty much it for Week 5. Let's talk about Week 6, shall we? My first key game is the New York Giants at the San Francisco 49ers, or you can say this is a rematch from the NFC Championship game last year. This is a tough one here. A tough one. No doubt that the 49ers are looking for some retribution. The Giants are still playing well, even though last week against the Browns, I mean, they were trailing, I think it was 14-0 in the first half, and then they basically had to come from behind to win. This game, I mean, the Giants they better play very consistent against this 49er team. This 49er team already has beaten up the Jets and the Bills, and they're probably going for the trifecta here if they can beat the Giants here. But no doubt, this is going to be a tough game for the 49ers. This is going to be a very close game all the way. It should be a good one. I'm looking forward to this game here. It should be a good one. But the way I'm looking at it right now, I'm going to say the 49ers maybe have a slight edge. I mean, they have Mario Manningham. He was from the Super Bowl championship Giants last year, so that could play a huge factor. But the Giants know Manningham, so defensively they could probably put pressure on him all game long. It's going to be this is a tight one here. This is going to be a very tight game here. I will say, but I'm going to go along with my picture. I'm going to say the 49ers beat the Giants here. The 49ers are playing at home here, and their defense still looks good. Defense may be a little bit better than the Giants, but no question about it, this is going to be a nail-biter all the way to the end. It'll definitely come down to the fourth quarter. I still think the 49ers win. They win this one. Second key game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Washington Redskins. Give the Vikings a lot of credit. They are playing very well. A little bit too surprising for me lately. I mean, if I'm looking for last week's game, Percy Harvin had a hell of a game. And Christian Ponder, the quarterback, really has played very consistently. So you look at this Viking team. I mean, this Viking team, I don't know if they are for real or not, but I'm going to still say they are kind of pretenders for the time being. Because they're still playing in the NFC North Division. And even though the Packers lost last week, I wouldn't count them out just yet. Vikings are playing pretty well. They're in contention right now with the Chicago Bears in that division. They're right now second place. And they got the Redskins. RG3 is still going to be a question. He was cleared, but from what I've read, he is cleared. The doctors have cleared him to play. He would practice, but they said not too much contact, though. So this is still a concern if you're a Redskins fan right now. RG3's been playing pretty well lately. But really, the team has got to get it together, and really, it's really tough for me to say here. I mean, this is another good one here. It's going to be a very good game, but I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think the Vikings have a slight edge. They're healthy, and the way they're playing right now, they're playing pretty consistent. So it's going to be, this one's another tight game here. I'm going to say the Vikings beat the Redskins. It'll be very close, probably by a field goal maybe. Third key game is the Denver Broncos at the San Diego Chargers. It was a hard game for the Broncos last week, and looking at it this way, I mean the Chargers also had had a tough game. They had a tough game against the Saints last week. This is another good one here. I mean this is an AFC showdown right now, and no question both teams are fighting for first place. The Broncos are in second, even though they're under 500. The Chargers are 3-2. I still like the Chargers in this one. They're at home. And Phillip Rivers is going to find a way to win. Obviously, the Chargers right now, their defense is, I mean, their defense kind of broke down a little bit in the second half of last week's game, but I think they're going to get it together. I mean, the way the Broncos are playing right now, it's really hard to tell what Bronco team shows up. One week they're dominating, the other week they're playing with a bunch of flaws. So it's really tough to say for this game. I still think the Chargers win this one. It's going to be a very close game, too. I mean, these picks I have right now, games I'm saying right now, I mean, they're pretty tight right now from the ones I've just mentioned. But I like the Chargers here. It's going to be a close game. I probably will say this one, they'll probably win by just a field goal, maybe. I'm going to say the Chargers beat the Broncos here. I really don't know how the Broncos, with this Bronco team, you never know. Peyton Manning struggled all of last week's game against the Patriots. And really, he might struggle again this week against the Chargers, but it'll be close. It'll definitely be a close game. I like the Chargers here over the Broncos. And my fourth key game, which everybody knows that every time I go to the fourth one, it's always my upset pick. This one here is the Green Bay Packers are at the Houston Texans. Green Bay, heartbreaking loss last week against the Colts. Obviously, it was kind of a, you know, a feel-good story last week. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Packers probably going to let it go a little bit here. I mean, I know they're still angry from the Monday night debacle about three weeks ago. But if this is the time for the Packers to make a statement here, I think this is it right here. Even though the Texans are playing pretty well, but remember they lost their linebacker to an ACL injury, so he's done for the year. So really, if you're a Texans, I mean, you got to really be ready for this game, even though they're at home. I still think the Packers here, they're going to find a way to win. I know Aaron Rodgers is going to get it together here, so if you're a Texan fan, you better look out. This could be a trap game right here. And the Packers really need to win desperately to keep pace in the NFC North Division. Texans, I really wouldn't worry too much, though. I mean, maybe for this one, I probably will throw in a loss for them here. Maybe it's good that they probably lose a game now, because that way, going in towards the second stretch of the second half of the season, it would benefit them a lot. So I'm going to say in an upset here, I will go with the Packers here because they need to win desperately, and I think they're going to get it here in this one. They're going to show the Texans that this Packer team isn't done yet. And I'm going to say the Packers beat the Texans. It'll be a nail-biter here. I mean, all these games I've said, they're all going to be nail-biters. None of them are going to be blowouts here. It's going to be very close games here. I'm going to go the Packers over the Texans as my upset pick for week number 6. Alright, everybody. That's it. That's it for my 4 key games for this week. Don't forget to check out my blog at CrazyFrankie56.blogspot.com for all of my Week 6 picks. And until then, I will see you next week. And enjoy the weekend, everybody, and enjoy your NFL Sunday.